Hey folks, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Friday, April 11th. Hope you're doing well. Had a request from a Pow Group private member. Going to jump into Cronos. We'll do some analysis. I'll give my thoughts and opinions here on the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But as always, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So we'll take a look at the monthly time frame here. Actually, we'll zoom into the weekly and we'll take a look at the descending triangle. It's a little bit more clear here. So you can see here we had a series of lower highs and a horizontal line of support. And when you break out of these, typically they break down. It's a bearish pattern. And usually you see the measured move, which is the apex and the length of that, the width of that pattern. So you would go to the support line here, and then that would give you your measured move of about 176. We actually hit that, and then we tried to bounce on the monthly, or sorry, on the weekly, but we failed to do so. And then we looked on the monthly, and we started to bounce very briefly here on the monthly time frame, but it was a weak bounce and a monthly bear flag as well. So this is called confluence. When you have multiple pattern signals, indicators all singing the same tune, we're going to be confident in that as the most likely scenario. So not only did we have the descending triangle targeting 176, we also confirmed the monthly downtrend. So that was a major red flag number 2. And then the red flag on top of that monthly bear flag was the fact that it was, or sorry, monthly downtrend was that there was a monthly bear flag as well. You can see here when we bounced on the monthly, it was a very weak bounce. Anything under the 0.382 fib was a potential monthly bear flag, and we confirmed it with a loss of support. And then the measured move was saying around $1.66, and that's exactly where we're hanging out here at the moment. We did pull back to $1.60, so that has been the lowest levels on CRON since way back in 2017. Pretty crazy to think about. We also had a weekly stochastic and MACD bear cross a little over a couple months ago, and then we lost the 10-week moving average. So we had multiple weeks of heads up that we were going to see, more than likely going to see some downside. And the broader market has been weak, and MJ was not positioned well for that weakness, and that was going to be additional headwinds for the sector. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, we continue to bump our heads at the 50 weekly, and we could even see a 50 and a 100 moving average bear cross. So it's not looking too hot here at the moment. Still a lot of work to do. Daily time frame, we had a death cross as well, and that occurred back on September of 2024. So when the shorter term, the 50-day, is above the longer term, in this case the 200-day, and it's on the daily time frame, that's called a death cross. When it happens the other way, it's a bull cross. So now that the 50 is below the 200, if those are set to cross here over the next, I would say it's at least 2 to 3 weeks before we even see that happen. Could be a lot longer than that, but eventually, unless you think the company's going to cease to exist, which I doubt, they're sitting on a boatload of cash. They very well could enter the beverage space in the U.S. as well. We're seeing that trend really emerge, and they more than likely could acquire another producer in Canada. We know they're backed by Altria, so we'll see what happens there. But I would more than likely expect some sort of U.S. strategy. Maybe they follow in the footsteps of Aurora and Canopy and Tilray, and really start to focus on international markets as well, especially in the European market, where you're not paying as much excise tax, and you're driving profitability and higher margin, right? So I think they could even acquire another company in Canada, right? There's still a lot of consolidation that needs to happen in the space, and they're sitting on like $1 billion in cash. So one of the companies that their stock price doesn't even reflect their cash position, which is a little insane at the moment. But yeah, we know that if it's an MJ stock, everything's been beaten down. It doesn't matter if you're profitable, unprofitable, LP, MSO, retailer, producer. Everything's been absolutely crushed, on average down about 80 to 90% from the recent highs. But we still have a lot of work to do. We still need to confirm a monthly uptrend. We're still in a monthly downtrend. So at least 3-4 months before we can see that happen, we would still have to bounce, form a high, then a higher low, then a higher high, and that's going to take at least usually about 3 candles to do it, right? So you need that high, the higher low, and then the higher high. So if we can show you an example here on the chart, when we did confirm a monthly uptrend, let me just go back. reset this chart. So if we go back here, here's an example of a monthly uptrend. So we had our low, we had our high of the bounce, a higher low, and then a higher high. And then even here, we had a higher low and then a higher high. And this was a descending, actually, it was potentially a descending triangle, but it was more of a wedge. So you would draw it like this, and we broke bullish out of there. So triangle, symmetrical triangle, wedge, whatever you want to call it. You can see we broke out of that bullish, and then you would just take your measured move of that and then move it out to where we broke out, and it was pretty much bang on. That's even ignoring those lower wicks. It's actually verbatim. So it's been rough. It's been rough for sure. But if we confirm monthly uptrends, that's going to be very telling. And, we can't just have CRON do it. We saw what happened. CRON actually confirmed a monthly uptrend back here. We had our low, high, higher low, and higher high. Another name that did it was High Tide. And there was a few other outliers as well. But if the whole sector isn't confirming monthly uptrends, that's when we're skeptical, right? So again, we didn't confirm. We confirmed monthly uptrends on a select few names, but we didn't do it across the sector, right? We need all the US names, all the Canadian names, producers, retailers, everything, large cap, small cap, medium cap, all confirming monthly uptrends, or at least 80 to 90% of them. And then if that's the case, then we're going to be expecting, a new multi-year bull market and potentially returning to new 52-week highs. I know it feels like it's never ending, and we're probably never going to get back to to any kind of high at the moment. But nothing goes in a straight line down forever, and nothing goes in a straight line up forever, right? Just like we get extended to the upside, we were monthly overbought. We got very close to monthly oversold here. And like I said, these are some levels that we haven't seen since 2017. Overall, I do own CRON, so full disclosure, and this isn't financial advice. Never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write, but I do own CRON in my portfolio. I'll be looking to add more to that position as well. And yeah, it's actually super intriguing at the moment. I'm just being very cautious, waiting for my crypto bags to really start to accelerate. And once I look to take profit over the next few months on crypto, I'm going to be rotating it into more beaten down MJ. And I think CRON is one of those names that will be worthy of the capital. But going to end it there, it's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and happy Friday once again. Hope you have a great weekend ahead, and we'll see you on the next video.